Next is from Alexis Figueroa and the subject CM Punk. Hello, team. By now it seems like CM Punk fights backstage are just as famous as how bad were his UFC ones. Question is Punk kicking these backstage fights or is it another EFC beatdown? What's the inside scoop? One will think he would Jungle Boy up. P.S. How you guys think the Jets will survive the Rodgers entry? The defense looked all world and the backs killed it. Um, First of all, I don't know any details about the Punk stuff. Conan has more details because people told him what happened, but I don't think that these fights were. The Jungle Boy was a very brief encounter, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and the Jets surviving Aaron Rodgers' injury, I doubt. No, not with Zach Wilson. They'll be lucky. They might make it in the playoffs because the AFC North looks terrible this year. So uh, I don't know where the wild cards are going to come from in the NFL, but the Jets have a shot because like a lot of these teams don't really look that good this year. So any comment on that, Conan? We'll talk about that in sports actually.
Yeah, I don't know. But they need a new quarterback. That guy,
Right.
I'd have no belief in him. Yeah, and remember
Nobody
last
does.
year, right? He had like 7 straight ineffective starts. So yeah, no.
From Gregory Conley, subject is an extremely important historical question. Question for Disco: Who portrayed the bananas in pajamas during the WWE Australia tour? Thanks, Greg. That was just. I didn't even know the guys' names. There's just two local guys. That's it.
I knew them. I knew them. One was Shark Boy and one was Glenn. They were the pajama. They were.
I'm the one that knocked him. No, Shark Boy was. Yeah, let's tell that story. Shark Boy was one of the fruits. Next is from Charles Ballard,
That's
and the subject.
madness.
Yeah, the subject is Fall Brawl. Hey, K100 crew, was scrolling through TikTok, came across a clip headline British Bulldogs severely hurt by trapdoor and ring. I watch and I see K100's own Disco Inferno alongside Alex Wright versus British Bulldog and Jim Neidhart. It's the first time I've seen this clip and first time I heard Davey Boy was hurt by a trapdoor. Disco, do you remember this match and do you remember him getting injured? Can you share your thoughts on the incident? Um, yeah, we talked about this before. Uh, he's trying to claim that nobody knew about the trapdoor, but I do not recall that. I'm almost certain everybody knew about the trapdoor because it was a significant part of the ring. Like, and people going out there during the day before the matches would know where it is and stuff. But I don't. He didn't act like he was hurt in the match. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
It's
at the end
no.
though, Di, he did have that problem lifting you up for the power slam. Remember?
Yeah, but I think that was just because of like when I went up on his shoulder, it was sweaty. I just kind of like slipped. I saw the
Oh,
clip,
okay.
and it wasn't
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't think he had a problem because of his back. That was just like a thing where
Well,
like
let me
that's a
just say a
yeah.
couple of things, Davey, but Davey boy, because the first territory I ever did outside of the United States was Stampede in Calgary, and I spent quite a bit of time with Davey boy. I loved him to death. And but here's a couple things. If you remember back then, he was kind of messed up on pills all the time, you know. And if you remember him and a lot of wrestlers, that's why they can't get him anymore. Were working that insurance company. What was it called?
Lloyd's,
Remember that?
Yeah,
Lloyd's. Remember?
Lloyd's of
yeah,
London.
Roy's the one, right?
And then they stopped insuring wrestlers, bro, because they
Yeah.
figured, they were making a lot of money off him. He was maybe trying to get some money. I'm thinking because everybody knew about the trapdoor. So either he came late, or he forgot, or or he was trying to make some cheese. And I would never try to talk bad about him because he was really cool with me.
And it's weird, and because Di, you've told this story a few times for years, and it's like it never breaks through the narrative. The narrative is going to be Davey didn't know about the trap door, WCW injured him and then fired him. That's and no one ever cites your version of it ever.
Right. Yeah. Or Alex too. I'll tell you the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and not only that, why would everybody else know about it but not you?
Yeah. And why did nobody else get hurt?
Right.
Right.
Like I mean, the trap door was on there the whole time. So next is from George Kittle, and the subject is Goldberg versus Batista. Conan, Disco, and Joe, you guys made the podcast easy to listen to, and I appreciate all the content you guys put out. Gives me something to do now that my work has picked up in the last few weeks in my limited free time or while working out. On a recent podcast, I recall you guys saying about how in a street fight, how Goldberg would beat Batista in a fight. I was curious why you guys think that this when Batista has fought MMA and has trained closely with the Gracie family for years. Do you guys have any stories of Goldberg being a badass or showing how tough he was? I feel like the general consensus between getting into it in Jericho WWE and then beating to a pulp in WCW by William Regal kind of put his tough guy shtick to the side. Would love to hear any stories you have of Goldberg just showing how tough or strong he was. Thank you always. That's George from sunny California. But Bill used to fight in college, like if street like back in the '80s. Football players got in fights. So it's like I mean, the guy was an NFL football player, and I think he trained MMA too. So I don't know. I've never seen those guys. I've never seen Batista fight MMA. So I don't know how he. I don't know. It's kind of a weird, like what do you want?
But this is the street fight. You can pick up a stick and hit a guy. How's MMA going to help you there?
Right.
So you spit in his eyes. This is a street fight.
Right.
Ball kick.
All bets are off.
Next is from Irony Mendoza, and the subject is Max Moon, Old Hoss. Best podcast in the world, so thanks for what you do. My question is about Conan as Max Moon. Obviously, the whole gimmick was based on Conan's talents. Does he see any way that gimmick could have gotten over with him at the helm? And how does he think his WWE career would have gone if he stayed? How do you think Vince Russo would book Conan in WWF in the late 90s? Also, with all the baseball talk in previous episodes, I was wondering if you guys have ever heard about one of my professional favorite baseball Hall of Famers. The first man ever photographed giving the middle finger. The top left is the first attachment. His name is Old Hoss Radbourne, and he's probably the most interesting man to ever play the game. I have never heard of this guy. Old Hoss Radbourne. How old is show the pic, Joe?
There it is. He played in 1884, 1885, that era.
That is great. That's great. Are you sure that's not photoshopped?
I mean, it's cleared on
doing that.
Yeah, it's cleared on Wikipedia, if that means anything.
Okay. That's great.
First ever middle finger. 1886.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna plug my earphones in here because I just got the beep that the battery is getting low in the earphones. So what about the Max Moon question, Conan? I didn't even know
what was the question.
I guess could it have worked? I guess the guy was saying.
If I was doing it would have worked. Yeah.
Yeah, because they put Paul Diamond in it afterwards, right?
Right. But they fired me because I wasn't showing up to work, so they had no choice. But I would have gotten it over because Vince invested a lot of money and a lot of time in it. He believed in it. I believed in it. But bro, I was making too much money in Mexico, and I was huge, and I was doing music and I was doing everything because I don't need to be flying here every month and trying on this outfit,
Next is Ron Acuna III, and subject is Elias. Hey, K100 crew, love the show. Cody, you're looking great, by the way. Disco, you're looking jacked, and Joe, it's fitting that you read about Rube Wildell because you are truly the Forrest Gump of podcasting. My question is about Elias. His contract ended supposedly, now he's a free agent. WWE wasted him when he was at the height, and now he has nothing to show for it. Do you think there is a future for Elias in wrestling somewhere other than WWE? Can AAA walk with Elias? That's a Ron Acuna III from Atlanta. Elias, would you use Elias in AAA?
I don't know because Elias, a lot of his shtick to me is his verbiage in the guitar, and he doesn't speak Spanish, so it'd be very hard for him to get over. You know what I'm saying?
Next is from Long Grande Wang. Subject is Ryback versus CM Punk. Since CM Punk got fired from AEW, has made every single wrestling podcast hosted by people that actually work in the wrestling business so much better lately. None have improved more than Ryback's show. The guy seems frankly ecstatic about the news. He recently put out this video, just 90 seconds long, listing the reasons why Punk will never return to WWE. It's well known that Tony Khan does what he's told by the top names in AEW. CM Punk and Ryback have had heat for a long time, was possibly the reason why Ryback was never hired by AEW, despite being physically fit for a while now. My question: do you think we might see Ryback finally return to wrestling in AEW now that Punk is gone? And what do you think about Ryback's CM Punk comments? Play the clip, Joe.
Yo, it's the big guy, Ryback. Guys,
Can you hear me?
CM Punk is not going to be going back to the WWE. Number one.
Yeah, I could hear you, D.I. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right.
Playing the clip?
Nobody likes him. From all the boys in the locker room to the office personnel. Absolutely despised Number 2, he's a pathological liar. I've seen it time and time again, and this is coming out more and more and more, and finally everybody's starting to see it. Number 3, he's not the draw that everybody wants to try to say that he is. He never was and he never will be. Sure, he can get a spike here and there, but long term, he is incapable of improving ratings. Number 4, he's fragile. He's just not it. Number 5, his ego is out of control. He will not come back and fall in line and be a spoke in the wheel of what is WWE. Number 6, did I mention nobody likes him? And number 7, he's partially responsible for the downfall of the wrestling ratings. Casual people look at Phillip Brooks and they just go, that's not that. That's not it. And number 8, he failed horribly at UFC. He wanted to walk the walk and talk the talk. He thinks he's a 290-pound machine like the big guy Ryback. But the truth is he's a skinny, fat little boy trying to play in a man's world. And it just doesn't cut it. Casuals look at it, and they know he's not the real deal. So, guys, that's the last bite. That's that. #hungry. Feed me more.
Good promo by Ryback on Punk. Do you think we
Friend of
might
the
see Ryback
show.
finally return to wrestling AEW now that Punk is gone? I don't think Tony Khan likes him.
Yeah, I mean, the company was around, what, 3 years before Ryback, before Punk came in, and they never used Ryback. So 2 years, I think.